It is day 3 of the Conrad Murray trial. Dr. Murray is accused of manslaughter in the death of Michael Jackson. And today, testimony from a key witness for the prosecution. Welcome to the KTLA News at 1 o'clock. I'm Leila Feinstein.
And I'm Glenn Walker. Alberto Alvarez was a security guard for Michael Jackson. He made the 911 emergency call.
Alvarez took the stand this morning and answered questions about exactly what happened when he arrived at the pop star's house the day Michael Jackson died. Brandi Hitt is at the courthouse and has the latest on today's proceedings.
The jury was definitely engaged today and took a lot of notes while Alberto Alvarez was on the stand. Alvarez was a member of Jackson's staff, and he was in the bedroom the day Jackson died. Here's what he said Dr. Murray told him to do in that bedroom.
Conrad Murray, then, as you're coming back to approach him, tells you Michael had a bad reaction.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did he then instruct you to take some vials or do something with some vials?
Yes, while I was standing at the foot of the bed, he reached over and grabbed a handful of vials, and then he reached out to me and said, "Here, put these in a bag."
Did he then ask you or tell you to grab another item?
Yes, he did.
What did he tell you?
He pointed towards the IV stand.
And what did he tell you to do?
He pointed to a bag, and he said, "Now grab that bag and put that in the blue bag."
Again, that was the moment the jury was taking a lot of notes in court today, and I happened to look over, and one jury member looked directly at the Jackson family sitting in the audience. It was hard to see if she was looking at LaToya or Janet, Randy, or Jackson's parents, but she was looking in their direction. Another big moment that happened later in the morning was the 911 call. It was played before the jury. That call made by Alberto Alvarez, and the Jackson family also reacted to that. I'll have that coming up for you tonight on the KTLA News at 6 o'clock. In downtown Los Angeles, Brandi Hitt, KTLA 5 News. Back to you.
All right, Brandi, thank you very much.
After a couple or a few breaths that he breathed into Mr. Jackson, he came up and he said, "This is the first time I do mouth to mouth, but I have to. He's my friend."
Surprising testimony from Michael Jackson's bodyguard about what was happening on the scene as Jackson's life was slipping away. Today in the trial against Conrad Murray, jurors heard from Jackson's bodyguard and personal chef, both of whom were there when he died.
We also heard the first frantic 911 calls placed when Dr. Murray realized he couldn't revive the King of Pop. KTLA's Brandi Hitt was in the courtroom.
For the first time in court, I noticed some members of the jury actually looking at the Jackson family as they sat in the courtroom. And when the 911 call was played, some members of the Jackson family teared up in court.
We have a gentleman here that needs help and he stopped breathing.
That is the 911 call placed the day Michael Jackson died by Alberto Alvarez, a logistics director of Jackson security staff.
Did anybody witness what happened? No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
That doctor is Conrad Murray, who's accused of giving the pop icon a deadly dose of propofol. In June of 2009, Alvarez was ordered to report to an emergency in Jackson's bedroom. He described seeing Jackson's lifeless body on the bed. Before calling 911, Alvarez says Dr. Murray made this request.
He reached over and grabbed a handful of vials, and then he reached out to me and said, "Here, put these in a bag." Yes, sir, he reached into the bag and dropped the vials. Okay. He said, "Now place that bag in a brown bag." He pointed towards the IV stand, and he said, "Now grab that bag and put that in the blue bag."
That was the big moment in court, according to KTLA's Manny Medrano.
It was the smoking gun for the prosecution today. Think about it. You have a defendant who's trying to cover up by stepping away from his CPR obligations and ordering a security guard to put evidence in a bag. That's a cover-up.
With the charge, Murray's defense suggested not everything Alvarez had described could have happened between two important phone calls.
Isn't it actually likely that when you talk about things that are being put away, it was after the paramedics came and before you went to the hospital?
No, sir.
Jackson's personal chef also testified in court today that Dr. Murray yelled at her to go get help. The two paramedics who ended up going to the house the day Jackson died are expected to testify in court tomorrow. In downtown Los Angeles, Brandi Hitt, KTLA 5 News.